This is One on One. Steve Hindy is the co-founder of Brooklyn Brewery and the author of Beer School, Bottling Success at the Brooklyn Brewery. How you doing?
Good. Very good.
Let me get this straight. You were a journalist for the first 15 years of your professional career.
Yes.
Your partner, Tom Potter, was a banker.
Yep.
The journalist and the banker get together and they say, let's have a brewery.
Yes.
Because?
Because, you know, he had always wanted to start his own business, and I was kind of antsy, having been a foreign correspondent for 6 years, sitting at a desk at Newsday. You know, I wanted more excitement, so I wanted to start a brewery.
Yeah,
it seemed like a great dream.
Sorry for interrupting. You're over in Saudi Arabia, right?
Actually, I lived in Beirut and Cairo and covered wars all over the Middle East.
Where's the whole beer thing come in for you, the whole brewery thing?
Well, I drank
Brewing.
a lot of beer as a journalist.
So you admit that?
Yeah, I do. Let's get that straight.
Okay.
But when I was in Cairo, I met American diplomats who had been in Saudi Arabia for 3 years. No alcoholic beverages in Saudi Arabia under Islamic law. And they were very avid homebrewers. They made their own beer at home. They had done this in Saudi, and they continued in Cairo. So I started drinking their homebrew, and it was amazingly good. And then, after almost 6 years in the Middle East, my wife got fed up with that kind of life and said she was coming back to New York and bringing the kids, and she hoped I would join her, but if not, you know, have a nice life. So I gave it up and came back and went to work at Newsday, doing the foreign news for them and making beer at home, serving it to my friends and my neighbors.
What do you mean making beer? Sorry, what do you mean making beer at home?
Brewing beer at home.
Where?
You can do it in your kitchen. You can make small batches of beer. Actually, Jimmy Carter signed a law that enabled this in 1978.
So you consider Carter a great president?
He was a wonderful president.
See, I'm sorry, I took you away from this. You're doing it at home.
Yeah.
And then you're serving it to your friends, and they're saying, hey, this is good stuff.
It's good stuff, but you know, I started reading about these small breweries that were starting up, mainly out on the West Coast, and the history of brewing in Brooklyn, and I thought Brooklyn would be a great place to make one of these microbreweries, to start a microbrewery. And my neighbor Tom said, are you nuts? You know, he had done a study. He had done a study of the beer industry, and he knew that the big guys were getting bigger and the little guys were being kind of run out of business, regional breweries. And he thought it was kind of a crazy idea. But I said, you know, Tom, we're not going to compete with the big guys. We're going to compete with the imports. We're going to make specialty beers. And Tom went to the Craft Brewers Conference, 1986, in Portland, Oregon. At that time, there were only about 25 microbreweries in the whole country. And he met a lot of people who were not in it just because they were crazy about beer, but they wanted to make money. And he came back, sold on the idea. We did a business plan. We raised $500,000 from colleagues and friends and started the Brooklyn Brewery.
Yeah, but it's a little more complicated than that. When you started to do it, some of the biggest obstacles you faced were?
Well, our plan was to take that money and build a brewery in Brooklyn. But we quickly learned that the beer business is really more about distribution. You got to have a great product, but you've got to be able to get the product to the customer.
Sort of like television.
Like a lot of things,
You think,
actually.
right.
Yeah.
Hey, we have a great show,
Yeah.
but we have no place for people to see it.
Exactly.
Same principle.
Exactly. So we changed our plan. Instead of brewing in Brooklyn on day one, we brewed in upstate New York at a brewery that had a lot of capacity. We trucked the beer down to Brooklyn, and we filled our van every morning with beer, and we went out and peddled it on the streets of New York.
When did you open up in Brooklyn?
March of 1988.
Okay, and what are we looking at right there?
That's the brewery today.
Describe for us how it explodes in terms of success. When do you know I was going to say lightning in a bottle. When do you know you have the beer in the bottle and it's working and it's going to be big? Because it's very big. By the way, describe how big.
Well, I mean, now we're among the top 10 craft breweries in the country. I mean, we'll do about $45 million in business this year, selling about 180,000 barrels of beer. That's about 2.5–3 million cases of beer.
So no one's really having to worry about you right now. You're going to be fine financially.
We're going to be fine, but you asked how long it took to feel fine. You know, I met a very wise man when I started the company who said, you know, if you stick with this and really dig in and work hard and persist, in 10 years you'll be an overnight success. And he was wrong. I think it took about 18 years.
So now you're the overnight success, right?
Exactly, yeah.
People around you, family, close friends, and others.
Mm-hmm.
How many of them were saying, what are you doing? Are you nuts? Most or a few?
Well, you have to put it in the context of what I was doing, covering wars. My father was thrilled that I was giving up journalism and finally doing something to make some money. But yeah, a lot of people thought it was kind of a crazy idea, which it was.
But you also, your business also has a track record of really giving back and being very community-minded, community-spirited. Talk about the philanthropic part of it.
Well, you know, in the beginning, we didn't have a lot of marketing money. And I realized New York City is a very noisy media market. And I saw import beers come into New York, spend millions of dollars in a short period of time, and get no attention, really. So from the beginning, I determined that our marketing money would be spent in supporting local arts organizations, not-for-profits, you know, mainly donating beer to them for their events and getting our product into people's hands. And that's worked out great, and we've really stuck with that over the years. So we support a number of arts organizations and charities to this day, and that's our main marketing dollars.
So one of the keys to a beer school by Steve Hindy and Tom Potter, founders of the Brooklyn Brewery, is that you too, if you work hard, you play your cards right, after 18 years can be an overnight success. Is that the underlying message here?
That's about it. I mean, it really takes a lot of persistence, and you know, you really got to believe in what you're doing. And failure is not an option, basically. We made it work.
I love it. Listen, this is a book not just about beer, but about success and leadership and hard work and persistence. And it's very inspirational. I wish you nothing but the best, Steve.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Thanks for giving back to the community.
Cheers. Thank you.
This is One-on-One here at Lincoln Center. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thank you.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating 25 years of broadcast excellence. This special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by Hackensack University Medical Center, Berkeley College, TD Bank, Qualcare Inc., a local managed care company covering 750,000 New Jersey residents, the law firm of Gibbons PC, Verizon Communications, and by the Russell Berry Foundation. Promotional support provided by the Star Ledger and NJ.com, Everything Jersey, and by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association and its monthly magazine, New Jersey Business. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been produced in partnership with St. Joseph's Healthcare System.